Politico reported on Thursday that U.S. President Joe Biden has covertly granted Ukraine authorization to use American weaponry to launch an attack inside Russia, primarily in the vicinity of Kharkiv. The report cited two sources familiar with the strategy and a U.S. official. Politico quoted a U.S. official as saying that the policy of permitting long-range strikes inside Russia has not changed, adding that the president recently directed his team to ensure that Ukraine is able to use U.S. weapons for counterfire purposes in Kharkiv so Ukraine can hit back at Russian forces hitting them or preparing to hit them. The timeline of Biden's approval was not specified in Politico's story. If Kyiv's Western allies authorize Ukraine to use the weapons they have supplied to strike within Russia's borders, as the Ukrainian government is pleading with them to do, Russian President Vladimir Putin has threatened to ignite a worldwide conflict. In response to a question on Washington's current stance on the subject on Wednesday, Secretary of State Antony Blinken stated that Washington will adjust and adapt. The U.S. has stated that it does not support or permit the use of U.S. weapons for direct assaults against Russia. Local officials briefed the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Immigration Integrity, Security, and Enforcement on the dangers along the U.S.-Canada border. North Dakota law enforcement officers assert that the increase in crime, narcotics, and illegal immigration has left them outnumbered. Sheriff Jesse Joyner of Cass County claims that the lethal fentanyl epidemic entered his county through the U.S.'s weak borders. Renville County near the Canadian border, Sheriff Roger Hutchinson described a criminal environment beyond the capabilities of his staff. The integrity of the northern border is seriously questioned, according to North Dakota Attorney General Drew Wrigley, who stated that attempts to enter the country illegally have increased dramatically. Following a string of significant cyberattacks, experts have described the U.S. healthcare system as completely unprepared. Over the previous 5 years, there has been a 266% increase in major information breaches, according to the Health and Human Services Department. First Health Advisory's Carter Groom, a cybersecurity specialist, feels that the industry is still catching up to basic requirements because it hasn't had the same kind of training as the financial sector over the past 15 or 20 years. Because a server in the Change Healthcare attack lacked security protections that many firms consider standard, hackers were able to gain access. Legislators took issue with United Health Group CEO Andrew Whitty's admission that his organization still doesn't understand why such safeguards weren't in place. Senator Tom Tillis from North Carolina demanded increased system protection training. Ascension Health System, on the other hand, has not disclosed if a ransom was paid. The attack's aftermath is still being felt in 19 states, impacting 140 hospitals and numerous senior living homes. The first hack resulted in ambulances being diverted, information being inaccessible online, and medication delivery issues for patients. Many hospital staff members continue to report poor progress and treatment delays, which endangers patients' lives. Senator Wyden from Oregon thinks that in order to safeguard patients and vital infrastructure nationwide, strict cybersecurity regulations are necessary. To combat these dangers, HHS is currently preparing to spend over $50 million on a hospital's cybersecurity defense system. A law that designates abortion pills as restricted substances and makes it illegal to possess them without a prescription was approved by Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry. Under the state's Uniform Controlled Dangerous Substances statute, mifepristone and misoprostol are listed as Schedule IV pharmaceuticals. Republican State Senator Thomas Presley has presented the Catherine and Josephine Herring Act. According to the law, possession without a prescription is illegal and can result in penalties and up to 10 years in jail. It does not, however, apply to women who own misoprostol and mifepristone for personal use. Following the harrowing experience of his sister, Catherine Presley Herring, whose husband admitted to injecting her drinking water with abortion pills and creating a life-threatening illness, the law was passed. The law will go into force on October 1st. The Biden administration's decision to remove the need for taking abortion pills in front of a doctor could lead to more unfavorable outcomes, pro-life organizations caution. The state of Louisiana is on the verge of being the first to require the Ten Commandments to be displayed in colleges and universities. The Louisiana House and Senate have approved HB 71, which mandates that all classrooms, from elementary school to university level, comply with it. If enacted, Each classroom would have to have a poster or framed copy of the commandments on display. The law was introduced by State Representative Dodie Horton, who claimed it honored the nation's religious heritage. All of the no votes, though, came from Democrats. The mandate has been declared unconstitutional by the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU of Louisiana, Americans United for Separation of Church and State, the Freedom from Religion Foundation, and the Southern Poverty Law Center. Legislation of a similar nature has been attempted but failed in Utah, South Carolina, and Texas. In 1980, the U.S. Supreme Court declared that a Kentucky statute mandating the Ten Commandments to be displayed in every classroom in public schools was unconstitutional. Creator Dallas Jenkins of The Chosen has said that the fourth season of the popular TV drama will be accessible on streaming services starting on June 2nd. Beginning on Sunday, June 2nd, the episodes will be released every week and will be shown on Thursdays and Sundays for a period of 4 weeks. The news follows the global theatrical debut of Season 4 in February and March. Jenkins, the show's creator, expressed excitement about the streaming release and promised that it will always be simple and free to access. The first 3 seasons of The Chosen are now accessible on Disney+, as the streaming service announced recently. With hundreds of men, women, and children being baptized in a water fountain outside Trinity Church in Cedar Hill, Texas this summer, Jenny Weaver, a former Wiccan-turned-Christian preacher, has spearheaded one of the biggest revivals in American history. Thousands of Christians in Texas have reported that Weaver is conducting one of the largest revivals in the country this summer, and they say the event has changed their lives. Shortly before more than 200 people were baptized on Easter Sunday on Clearwater Beach in Tampa, Florida, Weaver received instructions to hold the summer of baptisms. Baptisms, according to her, are happening all over the country because that is what God is presently doing. Mother's Day weekend marked the beginning of the Summer of Baptisms event, which drew thousands of people to the shores of Siesta Key Beach in Sarasota, Florida, along with the head of Core Group and her husband Stephen. Given that it reached the lost and left them desiring more from God, the event was a purposeful assignment from God. Participants talked about how the event affected their life and how impactful it was. At the Dallas baptisms at Trinity Church, they encountered Acts 2, where God poured out His Spirit on His sons and daughters, bringing about deliverance, healings, and salvation. Weaver intends to continue this ongoing event for the duration of the summer, providing baptisms to individuals from all around the world. She thinks that Jesus offers people hope and transformation, and that His message is as straightforward as "Come get transformed." On May 25th, a large number of believers gathered in Paris for the March for Jesus in France, which drew over 25,000 participants. Christians from different denominations were able to put Jesus' name above their ideological disagreements thanks to the event, which was coordinated by a consortium of ministries. The Paris event was held in addition to 4 other cities: Lille, Nantes, Metz, and Strasbourg. The organizers wanted Christians from various denominations to be able to communicate their religion while maintaining harmony and uniting behind Jesus. The inaugural march of this kind was held in Paris in 1991 and thereafter took place in other smaller cities. According to French officials, the march in Paris this year beat its previous record with over 25,000 participants. In the 4 other cities, thousands of people took part. As the only one who can save them and unite them, Pastor Jean-Luc Traxel stressed that Christians must place Christ at the center of everything. A concert featuring Hillsong FR and the Catholic group Glorious marked the end of the march, during which numerous individuals received healings, salvations, and Holy Spirit baptisms. If God can and will do this in France, Traxel thinks He can and will do it in all of Europe and all of the world's nations. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with more inspiring stories.